Hey, I'd like to thank administration for having me here today and to present in this institution. Thank you for having me here, but most of all, I would like to thank you for coming down here and being present for this event. I know that it is not a mandate for you to be here, so I appreciate you for being here. I do not take it for granted. We will squeeze every second of this day that we have together, and we will grow today. So, with that being said, my name is Carlos Christian, president and founder of the Starts Within organization. What we do is we work with individuals who are currently incarcerated for 52 weeks, and we also work with that same group of individuals for 52 weeks after they get released as well.
Going into the schools as well, I am slated to go into an at-risk school in Columbus, Ohio at the end of this month, to just get them brothers the information. That means that when I was young, I didn't have that information, so I want to be able to be in a position to get them brothers the information. We have just implemented a full-day workshop in Franklin Medical Center. That was the first of its kind, where everybody inside of the workshop got a copy of the book Prison Without Bars, and we covered a couple of different topics to be able to lean on the mentality that gets people incarcerated. That's our main focus. It starts within yourself, and it starts within your current situation. And these are the keys to be able to be successful outside of here. Men, I'm creating a lot of work, is what I'm trying to tell y'all. The way that we are going to build the Starts Within organization up is from within. That means that I need brothers to come home and fill these positions to be able to lean on the mentality. Why? Because people from the hood and people from these adverse conditions will listen to you versus listening to somebody who has been working to get in these positions. So who do you get the information from? The people that you can relate to. It cannot be a transference of information if it is no relationship established. The reason why I'm able to transfer information from brothers, the reason why I can transfer information to brothers, 13 years old, I got involved into the streets. My environment had told me that selling drugs was my best way to be able to become successful. So I started to sell drugs at the age of 13. I got hit at 19 years old with a 10-year prison sentence for attempted murder, possession of drugs, drug trafficking, possession of firearms. I really thought that the way that I was going was the way for me to be able to become successful. When I found out when I was inside a Grafton Correctional Institution was that this was not the way that I should be going. I had a 3-month-old son when I got incarcerated. I said that I need to do something to redesign myself, and that's what I did. So by 29 years old, in 2007, I was released from Grafton Correctional Institution. I've been home since 2007, men. Do you understand what that means? That's 10 years, brothers. Defying the odds. That's 10 years. I could just stop talking from right here all night. Defying the odds. What I've been able to accomplish in that 10-year period since I've been home. I've been running Starts Within organization for the last 6 years. I started it in 2011. That means that I was working in a warehouse on a 3rd shift job, picking cases and things while I was building the Starts Within organization. In 2014, I went in and I told my boss, "You are fired." I've been doing this for full time ever since 2014. I'm 2.5 years off the clock. No traditional clock for me. I said, "You are fired," and I said, "I'm going into my assignment." And this is what I do for a living now. I come in and I give brothers the information that they need so then their thinking can change and then their behavior can change and then we can turn the penitentiary on its head and stand the community on its feet. I'm on assignment.
That's right. Right.
This is what it's about, man. I've been able to see my son graduate. I came home, I got released from prison. His mom said, "Go ahead and raise our son to be a man because I trust you with the development of you, so I trust you with the development of our son." She signed custody of my son over to me, and I was able to raise my son. At 18 years old, my son graduated from Westerville South. He went on to Columbus State Community College for business management. He didn't stay in there, but at least he went. He's doing something else different now, working and doing things like that. But one thing that he is not doing, he is not selling dope. He's not emulating the man that I was, he's emulating the man that I am. And that's the difference maker. See, because statistically speaking, be incarcerated himself. Anybody who has a father or a parent who was incarcerated, that child is more than likely to be incarcerated themselves. But statistically speaking, we defy the odds. I'm supposed to be back in prison, defying the odds. 10 years home, man. I've been able to go to a couple of vacations. I've been able to watch the Cavs games. We was down there in the 1-point-something million in that atmosphere and just be all in the middle of that. Me and my son, I got 2 other children. I got an 8-year-old son and I also got a 1-year-old daughter now too as well. I got paperwork on all of them too. Shared parenting. I don't play about my children. Wow. I'm able to watch them grow. For my 10 years, I've been home, I've been able to watch them grow. I've been able to watch the Cavs games. I've been able to watch the Browns games. I've been able to eat Jell-O with the fruit. Yeah! That's what it is, and I'm appreciative than a mug. When I eat my Jell-O and I make it myself. I ain't got to sit there and wait at the trash can for people who think that it's pork and Jell-O. I'm like, man, brother, hey, you can't eat that Jell-O because it's pork in there, man. Let me get that Jell-O, brother. I ain't got to do that no more. I just make my Jell-O. I ain't got to sit at the trash can and catch brothers before they throw it away. I'm loading up on the Jell-O. You know it's pork in that Jell-O, Powerful things, man. Powerful things. I'm just excited to be here, man. I'm excited to be here, man. Just good stuff for me, man. 2013 is when I first started these presentations for Black History Month. And one thing about history, what history is meant to do, it's meant to inspire and motivate you. That means that when you look at what other people have been through and they was able to become successful after going through that, that should add to your confidence about you being able to go through what you are currently going through and be able to come out victorious as well. Because if that person is a person just like you and they were able to overcome it, then you can overcome it as well. And this is the purpose of history. We are supposed to use it for inspiration in our present time so our future can be great. See, the reason why we live lower level living is because we are not motivated in our present day and time. Well, this is the reason for history, is to go back and see how they were able to do it and see what they were able to overcome and then be confident in we being able to overcome what we are currently going through as well. For instance, if I'm sitting up here and I'm trying to push this like this and it ain't moving, come up here and try to push it for me real quick. And I'm just like, man, that thing ain't moving. Wow. Now I'm looking at it in a whole different way. Now I'm like, man, I just seen that brother budget, man, dang, let me go ahead and get busy, right? Because now my mind is working in a different way, because now I've seen you be able to do it. Now my mind is having the understanding that it can be done. So now when I go at it, I'm going at it in a whole different way, because now I know that it can be done. That's the difference maker. That's what history is able to do. If I can tell you, man, I've been able to overcome this and I've been able to overcome that, and I'm out here victorious where people are seeing the value in me, then it's like you can look at that too and say, man, I'm able to become victorious as well. He's no greater human being than I am. I'm not extraterrestrial. It's where people are seeing the value in me, then it's like you can look at that too and say, man, I'm able to become victorious as well. He's no greater human being than I am. I'm not extraterrestrial. I'm just a human being. I got organs in my body just like you got organs in your body. The greatest resources within yourself. It's not outside of you. The greatest resources within yourself. That's what I understood. I had to tap into the greatest resource, which is within myself. History. That's right. So over these years, I've uncovered a couple of different people. I've uncovered Frederick Douglass, you know, the things that he was able to get accomplished. I've uncovered Malcolm X, education as the passport to the future. I've uncovered the Black Wall Street. what they were able to get done in Tulsa, Oklahoma back in the early 1900s, able to establish those businesses. They had their own hospitals, they had their own doctors, they had their own airports, they had their own airplanes, they had their own grocery stores, they had their own law firms, their own lawyers in the black community. They used to call it the Black Beverly Hills, because they couldn't spend their money with dignity. So they said, since we can't spend our money with dignity, why not we just go ahead and create our own? So then they established their own businesses. That community was thriving in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I would encourage anybody who have not heard that or who have not did any research on Black Wall Street in Tulsa, Oklahoma, I encourage you to be inspired by that story and what they were able to get accomplished. That's right. I encourage you to do that. Last year, who did I do? Harriet Tubman, right? I freed 1,000 slaves. I would have freed 1,000 more had they known that they were slaves. Meaning that she got to Pennsylvania through the Underground Railroad, and then she comes back to Dorchester County, Maryland to free the other slaves and say, come on, man, I got the Underground Railroad jumping, I got the connection. And she looked at some of the people, and some of the people looked back at her and say, man, what you talking about, Harriet, man? You tripping. Wow. You trying to give up all of this? We getting 3 hearts, caught. It ain't that bad. At least we got a job. We got something to do. So she had to say, well, since you don't understand that you are enslaved, and these are, understand that they are enslaved and they are in adverse conditions, and I got to go ahead and pull them with me, because I have no time to be going back and forth with you, even though you are my cousin, even though you are my sister, even though you are my brother, even though you are my friend, and we grew up from the sandbox. I got to separate from you, because if I continue to argue with you to try to convince you that you are enslaved, I will be enslaved right along with you. I already made it free. I can't get caught up again messing around with you, Joker. I gotta roll with you, because you understand that you are in adverse conditions. Right. Everybody ain't gonna be able to go. I would have freed 1,000 more had they known that they were slaves. It's difficult to free somebody when they are incarcerated in their minds. That is the worst incarceration that you can face, is the incarceration of the mind.
That's true. That's true.
If you are free in your mind, you will be free indeed. But if you are incarcerated in the mind, you will find another way to get incarcerated. You can't help it. Your body will be incarcerated sooner or later. Also, if I say that I can't get off of the west side, I won't even look for opportunities to get off the west side. If I say that I can't stop being poor, then I won't look for opportunities to be rich. If I say that I can't make it out the ghetto, then I won't look for opportunities to look out for to make it out of the ghetto. If I say I can, I will. If I say that I can't, then I won't. Incarceration of the mind. That's the worst prison that you can face. And men, please do not think that just because you are in a facility, this is the only incarceration that exists. People are outside of the facility incarcerated because they do not feel like that they can do any better than they are doing. Greatest resources within yourself. You can create whatever you desire to create. Whatever your mind says that you can do, you can do. So my intentions today is to give you the word that provoke the thought that create change. So I don't take it for granted. That's why you see me sweat out bullets, because I understand that one word can change the direction of a person's life. I don't take it for granted. I give everything I got. This is the second one, and I'm turning it up another level. I'm just leaving the camp over there, and I'm over here, turning it up another level. History. So today, who I'm going to be covering today is a man, and I've been submerged into this man's life, and I'm inspired about what he was able to get accomplished. And he also said, incarceration, if you do not realize that you are incarcerated, then it will conquer you. Because again, he is saying that those who don't realize that they are incarcerated, they are not going to do the things that need to be done to battle incarceration. You're going to wait for everything to just stop and end, and it doesn't just stop and end. man that I'm talking about. Madiba. Nelson Mandela. Madiba was his African name. That's what they refer to him over there in Africa. But everybody in America, they know him as Nelson Mandela. And people know that he was the first black president in South Africa in 1994. He was born in 1918, died in 2013. But people say that it is not about the born day or the death day. It is about that dash. What do you do with that dash? See, Nelson Mandela has done some great things with that dash. He did some great things with that dash, and that is why he is known around the world, because of what he was able to get accomplished within that dash. Not the born day or the death day, but that dash. Most definitely. Most definitely. So I've just been inspired by this brother, Nelson Mandela. He was fighting the apartheid system. Apartheid was going on in South Africa. I was just talking to Mr. Wesson about apartheid in South Africa. I didn't understand what apartheid meant until I started doing the research, but it was segregation in South Africa the same way that it was in America. That means that non-whites were segregated from the whites. That means that those who were non-white were getting discriminated against. They had the lower level living. They weren't able to get the good jobs. They got the worst jobs. They weren't able to get educated. If you were non-white, that means that if you were staying in a non-white zone and then it was declared a white zone, then you had to get up out of there, no matter if you was there for generations or not. You had to get you and your family up out of that white zone once it has been declared a white zone. That means that you was discriminated against. You had to face the lower level living at all times. This was in South Africa, man. I didn't know that. I had no clue of that. I knew Nelson Mandela did the 27 years. I knew he became the first president in South Africa, but I didn't understand what he was fighting for. Man, I thought he got caught up with some work, but I guess it wasn't that. Most definitely. But this is powerful. But one thing about Nelson Mandela, he was an educated man. At 12 years old, he went to Jogataba Dabo. We're going to talk some history. He went to Jogataba Dabo. Jogataba Dabo was the king of the Thimble people, so he had resources. So when his dad died, Jogataba Dabo took custody of Mandela. So he treated Mandela as his son. Because he treated Mandela as his son, Mandela was able to get exposed to higher level education. So he became educated. He went on to go to Fort Hare University. That's where all of the great thinkers were born. He went on to go to Fort Hare University, where he would start to study to become an attorney. That's where he met his friend, Oliver Tambo. Now, him and Oliver Tambo in 1952, what they said is that, you know what, let's go ahead and start our own law firm. So then they created the first black law firm in South Africa. Yeah, because the people who were non-white, when they were coming to get legal representation, they would get charged 3 to 4 times more than the whites. So then they didn't really have access to legal representation. But when Oliver Tambo and Nelson Mandela started up their own law firm, they were able to get the clients who were getting overcharged because they were non-white. Nelson Mandela was committed. He got suspended from Fort Hare because he had a strike against the apartheid system inside of the college. Expelled. Get out of here. He was always looking to give back to the people. See, what it is all about is tapping into something greater than yourself. And this is why we talk about him. You can get all of the money you want to get in the world, but it's about what you leave in people, what matters. That's what he was on. He was about investing into the people, investing into the community. So then after that, he went on into the African National Congress, the ANC, and the African National Congress. They was anti-apartheid. So then they were an organization that fought against the apartheid system. So he joined them to fight right along with them, because he says that, you know, what use is it me sitting up here getting all of this stuff for my family and my community is struggling? My family is going to be exposed to these unjust laws. So I got to go out here and fight these unjust laws. So he had a family, he had a wife. His first wife was Evelyn. People think that his first wife was Winnie Mandela. No, his first wife was Evelyn, but she said she had to leave for 12 years. He had children. He was he had his own law firm, so he had things working for him, is what I'm trying to get at. But he said that I still got to go ahead and fight the system, that is the powers that be. He made a commitment to tap into something greater than himself. To tap into something greater than himself. So he was with the African National Congress, and he started to rise up in the ranks, and he started to get some things done, right? All the way up in the African National Congress, they was mainly nonviolent, right? They was mainly nonviolent. So he's looking at them and saying, man, you know what? I understand that. So he's starting to think differently. He says, man, we need to do something else. We need to pick up some arms because this nonviolence is not working. So he takes it to the president, Albert Luthuli. He takes it to the president of the ANC, and he's kind of hearing what he's saying. But then Albert Luthuli won the Nobel Peace Prize, and then he says, no, brother, we sticking with the nonviolence, man. I'm getting some good recognition here. Like, no, we ain't going, no, we not going, we ain't picking up no arms. So then in 1960, the Sharpeville Massacre happened. 69 protesters were killed, shot in the back, men and women. Children and women, shot in the back. And after that, Nelson Mandela, he said that we must establish a military wing of the African National Congress. And when he called this military wing, Umkhonto we Sizwe. That means the spear of a nation. He says we got to go ahead and start to fight back. There's no more of us spilling our blood into the streets. We got to do something about it. So then he started to go into the armed struggle. Now this was against the African National Congress, but he said this is what I have to do. In 1962, he was traveling to Ethiopia and different countries, and then he had got hit up because he was traveling outside of the country without a pass, so then they got him with treason. He had to do 5 years. I'm just giving y'all some history. He had to do 5 years. They ended up raiding one of the spots where the African National Congress was congregating at, where they was doing the Umkhonto we Sizwe, and they found some incriminating evidence against Nelson Mandela and 7 others. That's when he got charged with sabotage. 1964, sabotage, punishable by death. So he went from a 5-year sentence to facing the death penalty. 1964. This is where we get into it at, man. He got convicted of sabotage, trying to overthrow the government. Now, in his conviction, what did he tell the judge when it was time to speak his piece, to fight for his life? Just let me get life in prison. What did he tell the judge? I have fought against white domination, and I have fought against black domination. I have dedicated my life to this struggle. I have cherished an idea of a democratic and free society in which all persons live together in harmony and with equal opportunity. It is an idea for which I hope to live for and to achieve. But if needs be, it is an idea for which I am prepared to die. That's some drop the mic stuff. He told the judge that. That's drop the mic. He told the judge that, and he was facing the death penalty. He says that I am prepared to die. I'm not backing off of why I'm in here. I believe what I am standing on, and I'm going to stand on it until my death day. It is unjust laws, and I'm not going to never say that it is okay. I'm going to still say that it is wrong, even though I am facing the death penalty. See, one thing that Nelson Mandela said, that courage is not the absence absence of fear, but it's a triumph over it, meaning that we gonna face fear in our lives, but it is our responsibility to continue to move forward in response of that fear. We do not sit down in the fear. We do not allow the fear to stop us and paralyze us. So many times we allow fear to stop us in our tracks. I'm sure that he was afraid of what might happen if he spoke out his thoughts. But even though he was afraid, he says that I still must speak out the thoughts that I have because I do not want to water down the movement. Courage is not the absence of fear, but it's the triumph over it. Oh, y'all want to hear what I'm talking about? See, a lot of times we have a mentality that produces a known hell. And we are so in fear to adopt another mentality that can get us that strange heaven that we stay in this known hell instead of going after that strange heaven. That means I know that the mentality that I have is not going to be productive and get me to the places that I need to be in life. It's not going to get me to desirable situations, and I understand that. But I'm too afraid to change my mentality because if I change my mentality, what if I get ostracized from my peers? What if people don't like me no more? What if the people in the hood say that I done changed? What if people in the hood say that I done got scared and I'm fake now? What will happen if I adopt another mentality that does not resemble the mentality that I've always had? People stay with the same mentality in fear of changing and adopting a new mentality. So then therefore they got to continue to live lower level living because why? Because they sit in that fear. When you are courageous, you are able to experience another level living. This is why Mandela was able to get accomplished what he was able to get accomplished. This is why we are talking about Mandela today. This is why he made an impact on the world, because he was able to face his fears, meaning we all have fears, but it is our responsibility to continue to move forward regardless of that fear. Some people say, I ain't got no fear. I ain't never scared. You automatically going to be afraid to fall from high heights. Automatic. Try to go way up in the air, you're going to be afraid to fall. You're going to feel your heart pumping. And fear of loud sounds. Let you be sleeping and a loud sound go off. Right. And you're going to be startled. Right. I don't care if you try to play it off or not, you're going to be startled. You hear that? You hear that loud sound, you're going to be like, oh man, I'm just chilling though, man. You know, like, what's up? Scared to death. You were scared to death, though, for a hot second. Right. It's not about the fear, but it's about what we do with that fear. That's the challenge. So many people, man, they stay the same because they are afraid to change. Comfort zone. I don't know what that's about over there. And because I don't know what that's about over there, I'm not going. I'm not going. Them slaves over there with Harriet Tubman, I don't know what Pennsylvania is about. I'm not going. I know what Dorchester County, Maryland is about. I'm staying here. I know it's bad, but I don't know what's over there. At least I know my bad. And accept that. And stay in that fear. Stay in that fear. 1985, Nelson Mandela was offered to get released. 22 years in. President Botha comes in and says, hey, Nelson, I need you to go ahead and accept this agreement under these conditions, that you denounce the ANC and you denounce the anti-apartheid rhetoric. You got to denounce that, and I will let you go free. Because Umkhonto we Sizwe was tearing things up, and he needed Nelson Mandela to come home and to calm them down. Nelson Mandela, you know what he told him? He got 22 years in. He says, the factors that necessitated the armed struggle still exist today. We must continue. Put me back in my cell.
No capitulation.
He didn't know that he was going to get out 5 years later. He faced those fears. Courage is not the absence of fear, but it's a triumph over it. Man, it was scary, 19 years old, and I'm sitting up there in the penitentiary, sitting up there talking about I'm going to adopt a new way of thinking. I'm going to stop cussing. to go ahead and learn business management. Graduated with a 3.83 GPA. Where do people look at me as a nerd? I'm going to go ahead and get into administrative office technology. Learn Microsoft Access, Word, PowerPoint, and learn some Spanish. Exio, mucho, pero, traigo mucho, a la mesa. I demand a lot, but I bring a lot to the table. I said that I'm going to do all that I can do so I can remain free once I get released. Once my out date comes, I will not ever come back into the penitentiary again, because my son will be 10 years old when I get released, and if I don't show him the direction, then it is a good chance that he will follow the same direction that I am going. I need to show him something different, how to be successful. I didn't know how people was going to receive me. Courage is not the absence of fear, but it's a triumph over it. I said I had to make a decision. I got to do all that I can do. I don't care about what you're saying. I don't care about what you're saying, because you ain't in my ID badge. Matter of fact, when you go home, you ain't going to sit up here and take care of my family. You ain't going to send me back in no dang on food boxes. You ain't going to send me back in no money orders. So I'm going to live my life that fits me. Remember, I got to eat the Jell-O, right, with the fruit in it. I need to make it there. But I had to be courageous. I had to face those fears, and I said that I will not let those fears stop me. I will not let those fears of people accepting me or not stop me. I will not let it paralyze my development. And I just developed myself in a way to when people see me out there in society now, they have no choice but to see value, because I spent so much time on my development, who I am as an individual, that I don't care if you are at a board meeting. I don't care if you are the president of the United States. I talk to you the same way. I don't look up to people. I don't look down to people. I look eye level with everybody, because I developed myself. That was the work that was put in during that 10 years. See, it's not given to everybody. You got to work to get it. Those who are courageous get to live a whole different type of life. Those who live in fear, they always live in lower level living. You have no choice. You have no choice. Courageous, not the absence of fear, but it's the triumph over it. Another thing, y'all write this down if y'all want to, man. Another thing that Mandela had, a characteristic that he had that made him go to a whole nother level, his ability to forgive. Forgiveness. He's known for his forgiveness. That means that when he got released from prison after doing the 27 years, he chose to meet with Percy Utah. That was the chief prosecutor who was trying to push for the death penalty for him. I'm talking about he was going outside of his prosecutorial duties, and he was trying to really get this brother killed. In the 1964 Ravonia trial, he was trying to get that brother killed. But he got released from prison, and he had influence, he had power. And he said that I'm going to still meet with Percy Utah, chief prosecutor, and have lunch. He met with Betsy Verwood. That was the widow of the husband who manufactured, who was the architect of the apartheid system. Now, his people is looking at him like, man, what is wrong with you? It's time to go ahead and squash them. You see that they are running scared now. They are afraid of what Umkhonto we Sizwe is doing. That's why they let you out. They're trying to negotiate, but now is no time for negotiation. Now it's time to squash them. Let's get the revenge of everything that they've done to us in the past. Let's get them. Let's go ahead and take their heads off. Nelson Mandela, he says, I think through my brains, not through my blood. That means that I'm not thinking through all of my emotions. I'm not thinking through revenge, because when you think through your emotions and all of the hatred and anger and bitterness, it will deter you from getting accomplished what is meant to get accomplished. Nelson Mandela said that I wanted to live in equal opportunity, South Africa that was harmonious. So then that means that I'm going to continue to push for that. I I don't care about what was done to me. I care about what I'm doing right now, because that will dictate where we are going. So then that means that person Utah, if you can help me go ahead and turn the apartheid system on its back, I can use you now. I don't care about you trying to take my head off at trial, because that's what you did. But what you can do right now can take us to another level. I think through my brains, not through my blood. So many times we make so many mistakes in life because we are trying to get people back. I'm trying to make my girl feel bad when I get released because she wasn't with me. So I'm going to try to put all of these different women up in her face to show her that I'm getting back at you. You should have stayed with me. My whole purpose of getting released is to make people feel bad about leaving me inside of prison. I'm not trying to be successful for my children. That's not my idea. My idea is to make you regret for not writing me. Make you regret for not sending me no money orders. Instead of staying focused on what you want to get accomplished. First thing, you got to understand what you want to get accomplished. See, Nelson Mandela understood what he wanted to get accomplished. I've cherished an ideal of a democratic and free society in which all persons live together in harmony and with equal opportunity. That is what he wanted to get accomplished. So then that means he cannot focus on what everybody has done to him. He got to focus on what needs to be done right now. See, sometimes, man, the keys to the next level is attached to the person's hip who has done you wrong. So then that means that in order for you to get to the next level, you got to get the keys off of the hip of the person who has done you wrong. That means you have to forgive that person so then that person can give you the keys to go to the next level. See, life is just tricky like that sometimes. But people cannot get to the next level because they are holding those grudges against people, and then they can't progress. Nelson Mandela says, I'm not holding no grudges against nobody. I'm trying to accomplish an equal and harmonious society in South Africa. I'm not looking for revenge. They said, man, but ain't you mad? Yeah, I'm mad. But I think through my brains, not through my blood. I think through my brains, not through my blood. People say, man, well, what did he have to forgive? Man, he did 27 years, first of all, for the apartheid, as a political prisoner. He was in Robben Island. Robben Island was the worst penitentiary in South Africa. It was designed to break the spirit of a political prisoner. That means that he got one letter, and he was able to send out one letter every 6 months. He was able to get one visit for 30 minutes once a year. He had to break up rocks just for the fun of it, hard labor. His oldest son died while he was in prison. Thembi died in a car accident. And you know how he found out? The CO gave him a telegram that just read, your oldest son Thembi died. He wanted to know, how did he die? Where is the funeral at? I need to know answers about my son. Can I go bury my son? It's African tradition for the father to be able to bury their son. He couldn't bury his son because he was in prison. He was fighting for a cause that was greater than himself. He lost his mother while he was incarcerated. He had to face that. And when he came home, all of the people, it was the 9 million blacks, they were saying, man, let's go ahead and get him. And he says, no. What is wrong with you? So Nelson Mandela said, he said, I had to get the minds of the blacks and I had to get the hearts of the whites. I got the hearts of the whites by showing them forgiveness. I got the minds of the black by showing them the direction. It will be one man, one vote, and I will be the president of South Africa. He said, I am your leader, and as long as I'm your leader, I will give you leadership. It calmed him down. If you don't want me to be your leader, then I will just go away. He told them just like that. And they says, well, okay, well, you are best shot than we got. Think through my brains, not through my blood. This is heavy duty, man. This is what will stop us from growing. See, forgiveness is not for the other person as much as it is for yourself. That's what I understood. Because when you have that grudge and when you have that bitterness, it stops you from being able to grow. It stops you from being able to establish positive relationships with other people, because you are thinking about everything that was done to you, and you don't think about the things that you have done to other people. So then therefore you are angry and you are bitter, and people can read that. And when you are angry and bitter, then your face looks like that. You see him. Because brother thinking about everything that was done to him. Such and such left. My dad wasn't there when I was coming up. I don't care about what nobody did. I care about what you're doing. That dictates where you're going. I can't focus on the past unless I'm bringing inspiration from the past in my present time. Forgiveness was big, and that's why Mandela was able to be successful in accomplishing his goals. His ability to forgive. His ability to forgive. He was courageous, forgiving, and I'm going to tell you, man, to be able to do the things that he's done and to be able to face those fears, it's no joke. No joke. This is how it looks. I'm telling you, no lie. I'm doing the movement. Y'all know I'm on the movement, right? Y'all know I'm serious about the movement, and I'm just really trying to pave the way for brothers when they come home, so that they can go at life a different way than I had to go at it when I came home. I came home, I did minimum wage. I worked minimum wage, $6.85. Yeah, back in 2007. I worked it like it was $40 an hour. So now what I'm doing, I'm connecting with people out there who got employment. So I had this one brother who had employment, right? He hires people, and he was paying like $30-something an hour for construction. And I'm trying to establish the relationship with him, because opportunity comes through relationships. So I'm trying to connect, starts within organization to his organization. He was running for city council in Columbus. So I said that I need to establish a relationship with this good brother, so I can start to, funnel him people who coming through the program. So I'm connected with him, right? I done took him to the comedy shows, and we went to go see Marlon Wayans and all of that. I'm like, come on, man, I'm just showing him a different side of life. He calls me, and I was speaking at his campaign engagements and everything. He calls me, he says, Carlos, man, hey, 10 o'clock on a Saturday, Carlos, hey, dude, hey, I got an idea. I said, what you talking about, John, man? What's going on, man? Man, hey, the news is going to be there. You just came out with your book, because I'm the published author of the book Prison Without Bars. 1,800 copies sold, man, in the first year. Right. Absolutely. So I'm like, he's like, man, you can promote your book, man. I'm telling you, it's going to be next level. Yes, I got an idea. I said, what's the idea, John, man? What's going on, man? Just talk to me, man. I need you here, brother. I want you to experience this with me. I said, well, what you talking about, man? He says, man, hey, 12 o'clock, let's jump out the plane. First time. I've never jumped out of a plane before. I want you to do it with me, dude. I said, man, what? I said, jump out of a plane. I'm getting to look at my kids and stuff. I see them walking around. I'm like, man, I don't know about that. I'm looking at their faces. They looking at me. I'm looking at, but then I got the computer up. I see some mugshots of the other guys who's in my program, and it's like they talking to me through the computer, like, brother, we need this relationship, brother. Courage is not the absence of fear, but it's the triumph over it, brother. Go ahead and do what you got to do. It's going to be scary, but get it done. I'm sitting up there like, man, dang, I got all of this stuff in front of me, and I'm like, man, I don't know. I'm like, all right, John, man, cool, man, let's get it, let's rock and roll, man. So he comes pick me up, and he got somebody else in the back seat, right? He got somebody else in the back seat. This brother looks shook already, too. He's like, man, he got me too, man. It was his idea. Me too, man. He was a recovering addict, man. I'm a recovering addict, man. I'm a restored citizen. It was like, man, the one lady, she was human trafficking. So it's like, so he got all of us broken up in here to jump out the plane. It's like, we're going to do it for the first time, brothers. I said, man, this is crazy. So we ride to Lancaster, and once we get to Lancaster, to the jump site, the first thing that they come at me with, right, now I'm going in my mind, I'm like, man, this might not be what I need to be doing with my life. I'm going through the process, just taking it one step at a time though. So I get to the jump site, and they come to me with a paper. They say, here. Sign this. They say, sign this. I get to read it. It say, what do you want to do with your remains if things don't go like they need to go? I'm like, man, what I want to do with my remains, man, this might not be something that I need to be doing with my life. I got to sign what I need to do with my remains? Is you crazy? So now I'm thinking about copping out, right? I'm like, man, I'm about to cop out, man. I copped out to 10. So I know that I got it in me. I got it in me, man. I know I got it in me. When they got to talking 20, I'm like, man, hey, man, go ahead. And I copped out at the last minute. It's not like I copped out at pre-trial. I took it up to the last minute when they was about to pick out the jury. And the prosecutor said, I'm done playing with you. And she ripped up the paper. And I told her, I said, man, go ahead and take that stuff back up, man. Go ahead and take that stuff back up because something, you know something that I don't know because you must got somebody testifying or something, some evidence because you're too confident to take me to trial. Let's take it back up and cop. So I'm telling y'all I can cop out. So I'm sitting up here looking at the plane. He going all the way up 7,000 feet. And he all the way up to 10,000 feet, and I see him all the way up there. I don't see the plane no more. He passed the clouds. And now I'm sitting down here with the brother that's right next to me that was in the back seat with me. He got his suit on. I got my suit on, my parachute suit on, right? And he gets to talking. Man, my mom wouldn't even approve of this, man. Like, I don't even, like, I wasn't raised like this. I've never seen nobody jump out of a plane. This ain't what they do in my neck of the woods. So he's copping out. So the next thing I know, this brother gets to taking off his suit. Like, now I'm taking this suit off, man. If he don't understand that we cool by now, he ain't gonna never understand. That's right. So then after he take off his suit, I'm like, man, hey. So now John, he's jumping out the plane, and I see the parachute. I'm like, dang, that brother hide in the mud. Now I'm saying, man, hey, this brother copped out, man. I might as well just go ahead and cop out too, man. I'm about to cop out, right? So John hits the turf, and he comes up to me. He says, Fred, you ready to jump, Fred? Like, man, you see my suit off, I ain't jumping. My mom wouldn't approve of it, and I don't want to let her down. I got to get back to my mom, man. He's 38 years old. I got to get back to my mom. So John said, man, well, forget it, dude. Hey, Carlos, come on, man. I know you with me, brother. I say, hey, man, you tripping, John. I get to walking. I'm just walking just like this. Like, I'm just walking to the plane. I wasn't even there no more. I'm just walking. Like, and let me get to this plane. So I get to the plane. I get on the plane. Boom. And they got the stuff all on camera, too. So then they ask me, are you excited, dude? I say, no, I'm not excited. Are you scared? No, I'm not scared. Well, what are you? Man, I don't know. I'm just going. This is what fear does. Fear will try to convince you to stop and just sit down. Because if you stop and sit down, you will have to accept the lower level living. But if you continue to go, you will be able to experience another level of living that people do not want you to experience. You face that fear. I said, I'm just going. And this is how it looks. Just going. And I just went. I got on the plane. Now I'm on the plane. We flying. We at 7,000 feet. We at 10,000 feet. And we get all the way up to 10,000 feet. I'm thinking about copping out still because I'm scared to death. I'm like, man, I got to cop out. They rip open the door. It was a Velcro door. Now, remind you, it's one of those Gilligan-Island planes with the propellers, so it's feeling unsafe anyway. So they rip open the door. Shh. Go, brother, go, 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 go. I had the guy strapped to me with the parachute, and I'm telling him, brother, hey, hold me. And I'm like, for real, I'm like baby boy. I'm like the wife on baby boy, like tight. So I get to the edge of the seat, and I put my foot halfway over. It got caught on the door. I'm like, oh no, this is the same thing that happened right before I copped out at trial. Like, there's something telling me that I should cop out. My foot got caught on the door, just like the prosecutor was too aggressive with going to trial. So this is the same thing that's happening now. It's cop-out time. So you see me negotiate with my guy that's strapped to me. Man, that's not no clean jump. It's not no clean jump. Let's just go ahead and land the plane. Never mind, never mind, never mind. He's like, no, brother, just go ahead and go and reposition yourself and do it, do it, do it, do it, do it. I'm like, man, dang, again, just facing this fear. I put my foot over the edge, and I just go ahead, just like this, man. 10,000 feet. And I'm going through the air like this, fast in the mug, free falling. My eyes closed tight, and I'm looking out, and then I started to feel a certain type of level. I say, hold up. Man, I open my eyes up, and they got the camera on me like this, filming me, and I look in the camera, and I say, yeah, that's what we do. That's what we do. Starts with an organization, baby. Before change can be seen externally, change must be done internally. Crazy. When I landed on the ground, I experienced a euphoria that I haven't experienced for like weeks. I faced that fear. That's what we must do. We face that fear, you just start to develop a certain level of confidence. When you continue to face those fears that you face throughout life, you develop a certain level of confidence about yourself. I was walking in the grocery store, it's like, man, you know who I am? I just jumped out the plane. It just added to all of the other fears that I had faced. I had succumbed to the fear when I was 13 years old. I said that I can't go against the dominant thinking of my peers because that would make me vulnerable. So I got to be as gangster as I need to be. I got to sell as much dope as I can possibly sell. Because if I go against the dominant thinking of my peers, what will happen to me? The most courageous thing that you can do is go against the dominant thinking of your peers. It's scary, but the reward is great. That's why I'm able to say I've been home for 10 years. I done faced those fears. When other people sat in that fear and they was afraid to adopt a new way of thinking, they sat in that fear, they had to continue to do penitentiary over and over again. Because they were afraid to face that fear. Courage is not the absence of fear, but it's a triumph over it. Nelson Mandela faced those fears over and over again, and that is exactly why he will be known throughout history, throughout the world. Because he was able to face his fears. It's not easy. But those who can do it, man, life is yours for the taking. Dead serious. Dead serious. I'm living proof. I'm living proof. Man, you know I had the Starts With an Organization program. It's the 52 weeks program. And I had a guy, he come up to me and he says, Carlos, man, let me get in the program. And I says, man, you know what? You outside of the criteria. I need you to have 18 to 24 months before you get released. Man, you got life sentence. You got 18 to life, brother. You've been down for 20-something years. I know you go to the parole board, but, I mean, you outside of the criteria. He's like, man, I know, man, but I can add value to your organization. I can add value while I'm inside of this institution. Brother, just let me be a part of it. I'm telling you, I won't let you down. And I says, man, I hear you, brother. The brother come back on the first day of class with a resume. Like, brother, here go the resume, brother. He got a resume. We ain't even went to the employment readiness piece yet. He's like, here go the resume, brother. And I got all of these certificates. I say, brother, you know what? Just make sure you're here every week, man. Go ahead. Take a seat. I say, brother, I have no choice but to invest in you because you have invested into yourself. You see the value in you. That's why it forced me to see the value in you. If you didn't see the value in you, then I couldn't see the value in you. You can tell the people who don't see value in themselves because they don't take time to develop themselves. They just continue to be the person that they were back in 1995. You can tell the people who don't see the value in themselves, but you can see the people who do. Because they are continuously trying to improve on who they are. They're trying to read as much books. They're trying to get to as many seminars as they possibly can. They come into these events to see if they can get one word that can change the direction of their life. They are getting next to people that can help them grow. So the people who see value in themselves force other people to see value in them. I seen value in the brother. And I says, brother, you know what? Man, come on. Get on in the class. I know the criteria say 18 to 24 months, but hey, I am the president. I can make an executive decision. Trump do it. I'ma do it. Just recently, man, he graduated January the 10th in London Correctional Institution. He says, Carlos, can you go down there to the full board meeting? I got a full board hearing in Columbus, downtown Columbus, in central office. Can you go down there to the full board hearing? And I says, yes, I will, brother. I definitely will be there. So I squared everything away for me to be there. I got there and I spoke to the full board. I've never spoken to the parole board ever in my life. I had flat time. I've never spoken to the parole board. I go there and I speak and I tell them everything about the Starts Within organization. And then I tell them that this brother who is inside of the penitentiary right now, he can help expand this organization. The way that we are going to build it is from within. That means that I need the people who have influence in the streets to come home with that same influence so we can influence these youngsters out here who's talking about that they got to catch a case in order to be solidified in their gang. So I need them to get some new information from the same people that has the influence. The only way that I'm going to be able to accomplish my mission is utilizing the people from within. You ain't gonna listen to no Harvard student. I'm telling the parole board this, and they looking at me, they say, well, when is he gonna get started? What do you mean when he gonna get started? Immediately, right now. As soon as you give him the out date, I will have him ready to do something. As far as the schools, something. Speaking engagements, this is my idea. Facilitator, it's a facilitator in here. There's a program manager in here. There's a program director in here. It's a president of the DC chapter. It's a president of the North Carolina chapter of the Starts Within organization here. How are we going to expand to get to 2.3 million people that is currently incarcerated? We get them with the brothers who are incarcerated. And when they come home, they do things to not go back in. And then that will stop people from going in. It's just simple ideology. She looks at me and she says, but do you think that he's going to need some time to adjust? What do you mean? He's adjusted. He's ready. He's ready. Why do you think that I'm late? I had 10:30, I was at court at 10:30 getting shared parenting with my daughter. And I was supposed to be here at 10:30, but I was doing that and I had to come over here at 11 o'clock. And even though I was late, I'm still here. But what I'm trying to say is that, man, hey, I'm doing Starts Within by myself. That means that I'm the administrative assistant, I'm the president, I'm the janitor, I'm a facilitator. I need help. This brother is my help. He's ready. They came back in 25 minutes. They gave that brother a parole. He gets released January the 2nd, 2018. He has to go through a reintegration center and then to transitional control. That brother did 24 years. He will be home January the 2nd. That brother put in the work. That brother faces fears. He don't care about everybody looking at him like he pressed to try to change. He didn't care about that. He did what he had to do, and because he did that, he's able to see that out date. That's powerful. That's powerful. And that's what it's all about, man. Making that decision. Making that decision. The choice is yours. There's nothing as strong as a changed mind. Once your mind is changed and say that this is no longer for me, it will no longer be for you. But the decision is yours. Courageous. It's not the absence of fear, but it's the triumph over it. It's going to be scary, but it's going to be worth it once you get to the other side, brother. I am that other side. This is what the other side looks like. It's exciting. It's fun. It's good living. That's my time, man.